As a kid, I would come home after a long day and watch some of my favorite cartoons. It was a highlight of my day, and I definitely got some of my personality from the characters I watched as a young child. But from all my childhood cartoons, and the new cartoons I watch today, I began to wonder, who's the best? That's when I decided to set out on a most daring quest to watch and rank every cartoon ever. In this series, I will put every cartoon possible on a tier list and make the official tier list of cartoons, in my opinion. And I mean, who can say my opinion is wrong when I've literally watched every cartoon? Anyways, I will be ranking it on a tier list basis. Perfect tier being the highest, unwatchable tier being the lowest. The closer the show is to the letter, the higher in the tier it is. I will be changing rankings and switching shows as I watch them, because experience opens eyes. I will rate each part of the show before giving the final tiering the show will be in. It will be broken down to characters, plot and writing, antagonist, humor, animation, world building, and the show's ending. Extra opinions, preferences, and comments will be at the end before revealing the final rating. Now, with all the introductions out of the way, which cartoon shall be the first of my journey? And after not a lot of thought, I decided Gravity Falls would be the perfect way to start because of its popularity and charm. And totally not because it's a pretty short show and easy to finish quickly. If you lived under a rock in the 2010s and don't know what Gravity Falls is, Gravity Falls is a show about twins visiting their Grunkle Stan at the wacky town of Gravity Falls, where weird things seem to happen all the time. From gnomes to zombies to an all-powerful Dorito chip, nothing in Gravity Falls is remotely normal. The main character of the show is Dipper Pines, a young, extremely intelligent child, who also happens to have a crush on a girl a few years older than him. Weird? I know. Dipper finds a mysterious journal with hidden lore of the creatures of Gravity Falls. This journal is the driving factor for most of Season 1. He is also easily my favorite of the two main characters. He is by far the kinder one, despite Mabel coming off as such. Dipper is far less frustrating due to his generally calm demeanor. Another big thing about him, and the reason for his name, is the birthmark of the Big Dipper plastered right on his forehead. I mean, my man is lucky he has the hair to cover that Harry Potter ass mark up, cause he would definitely not be able to talk to girls with that showing up. To be fair though, he's lucky he had the Big Dipper sign on his head instead of Sagittarius, for example. Imagine going to school with a name like Sagittarius. You'd be cooked for life. Hey, my name is Jesse. What's your name? Sagittarius. But anyways, the main and only problem I had with Dipper's character was the crush on Wendy. I kinda felt that they didn't really have to include that and should have stuck with the Pacifica route the whole show instead of only the ending half. But hey, I think they executed it well, so it doesn't deduct much points for me. Plus, this weird crush gave me one of my favorite scenes in the whole show.
Whoa! Oops, sorry. My friend thinks you're cute. Oh my gosh, Tambry! Shut up! Hey!
Thank you. I mean, you're super young, so this is weird.
Now you know how she feels, creep.
Yeah, Wow. Wow.
All in all, there's not much to say about old Dip, other than he's a good main character, and definitely one of the better aspects on the show. His sister Mabel, on the other hand, Mabel might be my least favorite character. No, she is my least favorite character. She forces Dipper to give up everything for her, such as the perfect day with Wendy. Still weird. All Dipper gets in return is her teasing him and pushing him around. Even the main villain says it himself.
Besides, what's your sister done for you lately? How many times have you sacrificed for her, huh? And when has she ever returned the favor?
I understand she still loves him, and she does have her moments, like when she saved them with the grappling hook she got from episode 1. But most of the time, she's nothing but a nuisance. She once trapped Dipper in a room with his crush and made everything worse. On top of that, they both nearly died to a terrifying shapeshift monster. To cut her just a tiny bit of slack, she doesn't mean to be a jerk in all of these situations. But it's clear she cares about her own happiness way more than Dipper's. If I was Dipper and she was my sister, trust me, her pig is turning into pork chops pretty quickly. Other characters in the show are far more enjoyable to watch. The story of Grunkle Stan and Grunkle Stan, for example. Yes, there are technically two Grunkle Stans, but also one, kind of. Well, basically, one of them goes by Stanford and the other goes by Stan. Stanford got stuck into an alternate dimension for decades, and Stan spent his whole life getting him back. But for some reason, the first thing they did was fight. He basically brought bro back to throw hands. I can't believe you're finally back, bro. Yeah, thanks for bringing me back. Run them hands. What? Anyways, Grunkle Stan, the Stan we see for most of the show, is funny as hell and is the main way adult jokes are told. He is sorta a comedy character while also having hella depth and a great story. Easily one of the best in the show. Seuss was a great character to me as well. I usually hate characters who have the dumb trait. It's quite an annoying thing to add to a character. But with Seuss, they did it right. He's an enjoyable character and I like to see him win. Like when he bagged this girl. Seuss was also the comedy relief, which again is often the most annoying character for me. But a lot of Seuss's moments generally gave me a laugh.
This? They just wiped Lazy Susan's memory.
They should have wiped off that awful mascara.
I think she looks beautiful,
She's doing the best she can, Seuss.
Oh! Touched a nerve there.
Plus his conclusion becoming Mr. Mystery was perfect to me. Wendy is a lumberjack girl and serves as a main love interest for Dipper. Not much to say about her, not gonna lie, but she's a pretty cool character who handled someone much younger than herself crushing on her pretty well. Also, some of you guys gotta remember, she's only 15 years old. Y'all creepy. Pacifica is the annoying, snooty, bratty girl who also serves as a hinted love interest for Dipper. Not gonna lie, she was pretty annoying. But her main episode, Northwest Mansion Mystery, was one of the best in the series. So I guess she's alright. Overall, the characters are a good B+, and would be an A if Mabel never existed. The writing of the show is amazing to me. The main plot of the show is the search for mystery. There were a lot of cool details and mysteries to be found throughout the entire show. The fandom is still finding them to this day. The lore is surprisingly intricate for a show that only ran for 2 seasons due to help from the novels. There are a lot of fun creatures and mysteries in the lore, from Bill Cipher's death wish and why Gravity Falls is so weird. I mean, one of the gods of the show is a cute-ass axolotl. The theme of sibling relationships is another prominent thing, though the fandom seems to think it's the Alabama kind though. I mean, yikes. Besides that, each episode is fresh and fun and enjoyable. Some episodes were better than others, of course, but I don't think there was a single terribly bad episode. I mean that seriously. In my notes I took while watching the show, the same notes I used to write the script, I had completely forgotten to put my least favorite episode, or even an episode I disliked. This show has great writing that keeps you entertained and engaged in the story at all times. That's why I'll be giving the show writing an S. Time for what the show is most known for, its antagonists. Let's start with the less popular one of the 2 main antagonists of the show, Gideon Gleeful. He is introduced in episode 2 and is the main antagonist of the first season. Gideon, in short, is this child mystic who is a fraud and his business competes against the Mystery Shack. He has a huge crush on Mabel, which I do not see as vision. I mean, this girl spends most of her time kissing a pig, but he's into that apparently, so he makes it a mission to force her to date him. And I mean forced. Bro does not care about consent. He and P. Diddy in the same cell right now. His other mission is to own the Mystery Shack to get more journals written by Stanford Pines. He even asked for help from a dream demon, which will backfire greatly. All in all, as an antagonist, he is serviceable, but he gets heavily overshadowed by the antagonist of season 2. I feel hella bad for his mom though. I mean, that woman clearly has no will to live. Before talking about the most popular Gravity Falls character and antagonist, let me give a shout out to Pacifica. She serves as a minor antagonist, mostly for Mabel. She is rich, spoiled, and generally a walking stereotype, but I only think she's a decent antagonist because she's relatable. I mean, I also would bully Mabel all day. I also really enjoyed Pacifica's tiny redemption in the show and the comics. And with her out of the way, the last antagonist is probably the only reason y'all clicked on the video. By far the most recognizable character in the show, Dorito Chips! Oops! Dorito Chips is introduced at the end of season 1 because Gideon tried using a dream demon to get the shack from Stan's mind. And as soon as he's introduced, Dorito is shown to be an insanely powerful being, warping reality, controlling space and time. Well, actually, a giant baby controls time, but that's for later. In season 2, Dorito Chip, or Bill Cipher, wants to find a way to get into the physical realm, which would spell doom for all of humanity. Stanford Pines comes back and basically warns them not to let Bill Cipher in. There is basically a rift that he has, which essentially locks away Bill and stops him from getting into the physical realm. Well, later, Bill disguises as a time patrol officer who Mabel and Dipper did not like, who also attempted to end their life. Yet Bill somehow tricks Mabel to hand over something she was specifically told to be careful with. I'm one cartoon in, and I think I might have my least favorite character of all time. But anyways, Bill breaks the rift and returns to physical form, causing a weird Mergeddon on all of Gravity Falls. He tortures the people of Gravity Falls and destroys the city. Mabel is imprisoned in her own personal dream world. Dipper eventually convinces her to come out and yada yada yada. They find a way to trick Bill and beat him. Honestly though, how they defeated him was some of the most bullshit thing I've ever seen. Like, isn't he nearly all-knowing? How couldn't he tell two twins apart? Though, I understand. I'm a twin, and people I've known since diapers still can't tell us apart. But anyways, Bill was an insanely fun villain throughout the entire show, and carries the antagonist grade to an A-. Bill alone is an S, but he gets dragged down a little. Now on to humor. Humor is one of the most important categories, at least for me, because I'm a guy who watches cartoons to laugh at, or at least to chuckle. I would say Gravity Falls is a fairly funny show.
Whoa. This is worthless.
Of course the show isn't as much as a comedy as it is a mystery, so not every joke is going to get you to laugh, but the humor is enough to get it some giggles. I will give it a solid B. Now, time for animation. Honestly, this category isn't that important to a show's final ranking and probably won't decrease the show, unless it's absolutely abysmal. But it can increase a show's ranking a bit. Like, Demon Slayer would be held in a way lower regard if it had the animation of the 7 deadly frames.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Gravity Falls animation is alright though. Nothing too shocking, but it's pretty alright for an early 2010s cartoon. Also, in this category, I'll include how the show looks, like character designs and art style. The character designs are alright. None stand out that much except for Bill, of course. Overall, for a cartoon of its time, it has a pretty good animation and the character designs are decent, so I'll give it a B. Last but not least, it's world building. This category is what the show does the worst at, as you only see one town throughout the entire show, and you don't get to truly flesh out all the places. Most areas except the shack are one and done. This is pretty simple. It's getting a D, for its pretty bad world building. Not to say it felt bad while watching it though, but looking back, you really don't get much info about the world of Gravity Falls in the show. So yeah, it's easily the show's worst aspect, other than Mabel, and a D is quite deserved. Okay, so now we are done with ratings. Here are some likes and dislikes about the show. My favorite episode is the Pacifica Mansion episode. It was such a good episode and probably the most graphic episode too. The story and plot of the episode were perfect. And despite the show's terrible world building, it actually tells a decent amount of the past of Gravity Falls. If I had to pick, my least favorite episode is probably the first episode. It wasn't even that bad though. It's just that the show is so good that the first episode falls short in comparison. Here are the final ratings for each category of the show. Time for the final rating. Drum roll, please. This show is going in the A tier. Yep, we are starting out with a bang. There was really no other rating for it. The writing, the villains, the characters, except Mabel, are all top notch. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and subscribe so you can see the next show ranking or any other videos. Comment what videos or show rankings you all want to see next.